They didn't tell me about my brother's graduation dinner. Mom said I should focus on paying the family's $9,200 debt instead. My brother added, "No seat for you? Oh, right, you're not really part of this family." My parents stayed silent, so I said, "No seat? Funny, I've been paying for this table all along. Until today. My name's Ethan. I'm 31, the oldest kid, the one who keeps the lights on and the Wi-Fi paid. I do back-end support for a logistics company. Boring until something breaks. Then everyone panics and pings me like I'm the fire department. I rent a small one-bedroom near the river. Coffee machine that wheezes. Running shoes by the door. 2 mugs, both chipped. I like quiet. I like lists. I like when numbers line up and the fridge has leftovers in labeled containers. In my family, I'm the responsible one. Translation, the spare wallet with legs. I file mom's taxes, fix dad's phone, cover just this month when bills go sideways. My brother, Tyler, 23, is the fun one. Translation, the reason bills go sideways. Ty dropped out of community college twice and calls it finding himself. He drives a car with a loud exhaust and a prayer for brakes. He's TikTok confident and rent payment shy. My parents call him a free spirit. I call him my most expensive hobby. Friday afternoon, I was debugging a messy import script when my phone buzzed. Family group chat. Graduation dinner for our Ty? Saturday 7 p.m., La Vigna. Dress nice. I blinked. Graduation? I opened the chat. Mom had posted a photo of a rolled diploma and a gold confetti gif. Wait, I typed. Graduation from what? 3 dots. Then Tyler. LOL chill grandpa. It's my completion ceremony. They're giving me a certificate for the HVAC course. Dinner after. Mom followed up. Proud of our boy. Everyone's coming. I scrolled up, confused. Had I missed something? I keep a shared calendar for them. Dental, oil changes, reminders to water the fern. No dinner invite there. No heads up. Nothing. I typed. We're at La Vigna. They need a head count. The dots popped, vanished, popped again. Mom. Ethan, honey, you should focus on paying the family's $9,200 debt instead. We'll handle dinner. I read that sentence 3 times. The way you read an email that's either a joke or a weapon. Debt. I wrote. What debt? And why am I not invited? A minute later, Tyler chimed in like a drum roll. No seat for you. Oh, right. You're not really part of this family. He added a winking face. Then a laughing one. Then a thumbs up. I stared at my monitor. Lines of code blurred into a single long line of noise. I called. Mom picked up on speaker. Voices in the background. Music, plates, someone laughing. Mom, I said. What was that? She sighed, the patient sigh. Ethan, please don't start. Tonight is for your brother. The restaurant is small and you didn't tell me about it, I said. You put it in the chat as a done deal. Silence. Then Tyler's voice near the phone. Cheerful and mean. La Vigna's not a soup kitchen, dude. Limited seats. Ty, I said. Hey, no hard feelings, he said. But come on. You've always got your spreadsheets and your whatever. We need family energy tonight. Dad's voice, lower, weary. Let's not escalate. I could hear chairs scraping. Glasses clinking. A server saying gratuity is included for parties of 8. Not invited, I said out loud. It sounded small in my apartment. Mom cleared her throat. Ethan, you know we're trying to tackle that balance. Utilities, the HOA thing, your father's dental. We thought it was better if you prioritize. By not showing up? I said. By not making a scene, she said. We'll talk when you're calmer. Then the call ended. No goodbye? I sat back down. My coffee had gone cold. The cursor blinked in the terminal like a tiny heartbeat. And under all the shock was something older and heavier. Not rage. Not yet. Just that familiar click of a puzzle piece sliding into place. No seat. No warning. No voice except theirs. In my head, I heard my own voice answer, flat and quiet. Okay. But it wasn't okay. Not even close. And the worst part? I already knew what the $9,200 was. I just hadn't realized they were going to wave it like a ticket to decide who counted as family and who didn't. The $9,200 wasn't a surprise bill. It was a snowball made of 100 little, just this once moments I'd been packing together for 4 years. It started with the water heater, then the cracked windshield, then Dad's crown that insurance should have covered, but somehow didn't. Then the HOA fee for repainting the curb numbers, which made no sense, but came with threats in bold font. Every time, Ethan, you know we'll pay you back. And every time I said, we'll figure it out. Then I'd open my budgeting app and slide money from vacation to family, from emergency to family, From Ethan's future to family. Tyler's needs were almost never emergencies. Shoes that cost the same as a month of groceries. A temporary move back home that turned into 2 years of mom folding his laundry and dad rolling his eyes. DoorDash charges on their card by accident. Gas money because the job he had didn't start until next week. My part in all this wasn't heroism. It was training. If someone cons you long enough, the con becomes routine. You stop checking the price because the pin is already in your hand. I kept the spreadsheet. I kept the receipts. Not because I planned to collect, but because numbers calm me when people don't. I never sent invoices. I never charged interest. I just watched the sum in the corner of the sheet grow 600 here, 1,000 there, a short-term loan that stopped being short a long time ago. Every few months, I'd try to reset the pattern. Let's put everything on paper, I'd say. Dad would rub his temples. Don't nickel and dime, family. Mom would sigh. You make everything so transactional. Tyler would yawn. Bro, you act like you're Bank of America. Then he'd ask for gas money. Last winter, the power got shut off at my parents' place. Mom called me crying at 7:12 a.m. We paid, she said. I swear we did. They hadn't. The bill was stuffed behind a magnet on the fridge under a coupon for wings. I paid it from my phone sitting in my car outside their house, while Tyler slept face down on the couch, the TV on, and a space heater buzzing. When the heat kicked back on, Mom hugged me like she'd just watched me pull them from a river. Dad clapped my shoulder. Tyler burrowed deeper into the blanket and mumbled, W hero. 2 days later, he posted a selfie with a new gold chain. When he enrolled in the HVAC program in March, I felt the tiniest spark of hope. Something practical. Something that could stick. He sent a photo of his student ID. Mom called me, bright for the first time in months. He's really doing it, she said. Let's support him. I offered to help with books. Not cash, not a card, just direct payment. Tyler rolled his eyes in the background. We got it, he said. They didn't. By June, the $9,200 on my sheet wasn't just numbers. It was dinners skipped and weekends I'd stayed in. It was the trip I didn't take because August would be better, except August turned into Dad's root canal, Mom's car battery, Tyler's course fee glitch. We never used the word debt. We used help. We used family. We used we'll make it even. But the math didn't care about words. It just climbed. Then came the dinner. Ty's graduation. A dinner nobody told me about until the day of. A table they said didn't have a seat for me because the room was small and I should focus on paying the family's $9,200 debt instead. The math turned into a mouth. I could feel the old script trying to boot in my head. Don't rock the boat. Be gracious. Show up anyway and smile. Quietly pick up the check and call it an investment in peace. Except there was something else this time. Not anger, not yet. Just clarity. Because it wasn't just the dinner. It was the last month of the HVAC course when Tyler stopped going on Mondays because the instructor was boring. It was the morning I found Mom crying over a red notice and Dad saying, well, ask Ethan. It was Tyler joking in the group chat. Our family CFO can figure it out. I remembered a little moment that should have told me everything. 2 weeks before the dinner, I'd stopped by the house to fix the router. On the fridge, next to a picture of me at 12 with crooked teeth, was a list, La Vigna, 8 ppl. Underneath, Mom, Dad, Aunt Bree, Uncle Dan, cousins Hannah and Lex, Tyler, and +1 Jade. I'd read it, smiled, and asked, who's Jade? Ty's girl, Mom said. We adore her. She brings out the best in him. No, and you. No space left blank for me. I told myself they probably hadn't finalized the guest count. That I'd get the text like always. Can you make the reservation? Use your points. I told myself I was being sensitive, but I wasn't missing anything. They were. Sunday afternoon after the dinner, I stopped by to drop off a spare HDMI cable. The dining room smelled like garlic and old laughter. There were paper gift bags with tissue paper deflated like sad flags. Tyler was on the couch scrolling. How was it? I asked. He grinned. Sick. They brought out the tiramisu with a sparkler. Mom cried. Jade cried. I gave a little speech. Oh yeah, I said. He mimed holding a mic. I thanked the fam for riding with me. Said I couldn't have done it without them. Especially Mom and Dad, you know? Real ones. I waited for my name. It didn't come. He looked up at me finally. Don't be salty, man. It would have been awkward with you there. Why? I said. He shrugged. Because you're you. The vibe is different when you're counting forks. I stood there holding the cable like a lifeline. Counting forks, I said quietly. Mom came in with a stack of plates. Ethan, please don't start, she said, without me starting anything. Dad took the plates from her. We're tired, he said. Don't bring up money. I hadn't. Not yet. Ty smirked at his phone. Anyway, no seat for you. We said that. He said it lightly, like a joke, like it didn't land on anything. Something in my chest tilted. Not a crash. A click. I put the cable on the table. Got it, I said. Enjoy the leftovers. On the drive home, I kept grip-checking the steering, like it might float away. I wasn't making plans. I wasn't drafting speeches. I was just letting the facts reorganize themselves in my head until the picture was sharp. No seat. $9,200. Focus on paying. Not really part of this family. If you say those words often enough, this is what happens. The person who pays the bill starts checking who's even eating. The breaking point happened on Tuesday night. One of those humid evenings where the air feels like a damp towel. We were all in the family group chat because Aunt Bree had sent a photo of her dog in a graduation cap as a joke, and everyone was still basking in Ty's weekend of being celebrated. Mom, we should post the restaurant photo. So proud. Jade, first time in the chat, best night. Ty, big love to my real ones. I stared at that last line. Then I scrolled up to Mom's line from Friday. Focus on paying the family's $9,200 debt instead. I took a breath, counted to 5, and typed. Cool. Since we're talking about the weekend, I have something to share too. Dots exploded. Dad, what now, Ethan? I dropped a screenshot. It was the first page of the spreadsheet I'd kept for years. Clean. Clear. Dates, amounts, notes. $180.52 for the power that winter morning. $420 for the brake pads. Ty needs to drive to class. Urgent. $1,100 for HOA back dues. $300 temporary for Mom's prescription when the card declined. $2,000 bridge when the water heater died. On and on. Total at the bottom, $9,200.37. Ty. Classic Ethan, always with the spreadsheets. Mom. Ethan, this is inappropriate. I typed, this is what you called help. You labeled it the family's $9,200 debt and used it to tell me not to come to my brother's dinner. Dad, we are not doing this in a chat. I was calm. My heart was doing that slow, heavy beat it does right before a hard truth. You're right. Let's do it in person. I'm outside. Tyler. Outside where? I hit send on the photo I'd just taken from their front walk. The living room window glowing, the reflection of my phone, the edge of Dad's old lawn flamingo. Mom called immediately. Ethan, don't be dramatic. I'm not, I said. I'm here to return something. What? Dad said, voice near the phone now money. Boundaries, I said. He opened the door. Tyler and Mom behind him, Jade peeking from the hallway. I stepped in, held up a manila envelope. Copies of the spreadsheet, I said. Printed so you can hang them on the fridge. Since you like lists there. Mom flushed. How dare you? I'm not asking you to pay it today, I said. I'm telling you I'm done being the table. Dad frowned. The what? The table, I said. The thing you pile everything on. The thing that holds up your dinners and your stories and your excuses. You told me there was no seat for me last weekend. Funny. I've been paying for this table all along. Until today. Silence. The kind that hums. Ty laughed, high and fake. You sound like a meme. I looked at him. Congrats on finishing your course. He rolled his eyes. Certificate, bro, try to keep up. You know, I said. I called La Vigna this afternoon. Mom stiffened. Why would you do that? Because I wanted to ask the manager a favor, I said. I've booked tables there for work. They know me. I asked if anyone had paid with the family card. They hadn't. I asked if a card had bounced. He said yes. Twice. Then someone used a different card. The bill was $612 before tip. Mom's lips pressed thin. This is harassment. It's clarity, I said. I don't care about your dinner. I care about the part where I got told to focus on paying $9,200 so I could stay home and shut up while you celebrated a kid who told me you're not really part of this family. Dad's jaw flexed. Watch your tone. There's going to be a new tone, I said. It has 3 points. I held up a finger. 1. No more money. Not for HOA, not for breaks, not for phone plans, not for DoorDash accidents. If your card declines, you eat at home. Second finger. 2. Boundaries. I won't be on call for tech support, bill disputes, or landlord drama. I work for a company. I am not your 24/7 help desk. Third finger. 3. Respect. You don't get to use my name when it's convenient and erase it when it's not. You left me off the list and told me to focus on paying. That ends today. Mom pointed at the envelope. So the spreadsheet is a bill? The spreadsheet is a history, I said. You can ignore it, like you ignore the calendar the red notices, and the way you talk to me. But I won't. Not anymore. Ty snorted. What are you going to do, block us? Maybe, I said. Or maybe I'll do something scarier. He leaned forward. Like what? Nothing, I said. I'll do nothing the next time you ask. He blinked. It landed. Dad stepped forward, shoulders up. You don't talk to your mother like this in our house. I looked past him at the family photo on the wall. Me at 10, holding a cake I'd baked from a box. Tyler at 2 grabbing a frosting rose with his fist. Mom smiling at Tyler and not at the camera. Dad mid-blink. I'm not here to fight, I said softly. I'm here to tell you I heard you. Heard what? Mom snapped. That there was no seat for me, I said. So I'm not standing anymore either. I put the envelope on the entry table, next to the jar of spare keys and loose screws. I turned to leave. Ty's voice chased me. You'll be back, he said. You always come back. I kept walking. Not to this. When the door closed behind me, my hands started to shake. Not from fear. From the weight coming off. I sat in my car a long time, feeling my heart slow down to a pace I recognized as mine. Then I drove home and, for the first time in a decade, turned off my phone overnight. I woke up before my alarm to a wall of missed calls and a dozen texts stacked like an avalanche. Mom, Ethan, this was cruel. Dad, we need to talk like adults. Ty, bro, you really printed receipts? LMAO. Jade, this is between you and your family. Please don't drag me. Aunt Bree, 3 voice messages full of sighs, and sweetie, family is messy. I made coffee. I answered none of them. At 9:04 a.m., Dad showed up at my apartment without warning. He has a key for emergencies. He's used it for, we borrowed your drill, and helped me log into this streaming thing. I didn't buzz him up. He rang until my upstairs neighbor yelled down the stairwell. After 6 minutes, he left. 10 minutes later, a new text, unacceptable. I set my phone face down and opened my budgeting app. For the first time, the category family had a monthly cap of $0. It looked like a joke. It felt like CPR. At noon, HR slacked me. All good. I had sent my boss a heads up the night before. Family stuff, boundaries, phone off during lunch. He sent a thumbs up and a proud of you. I stared at that for a minute, weirdly close to tears. It's disorienting when someone calls decent the thing you were told is cruelty. By afternoon, my phone buzzed with a new group chat. Family, no drama. Mom had created it and added everyone but me. Then, 3 minutes later, she added me. Mom, we will only use this chat for logistics. No arguments. Ty, LOL. Aunt Bree, love this. I muted it. Around 5, a message popped up from an unknown number. Hi Ethan, this is Mr. Coleman from La Vigna. Just wanted to confirm that everything is resolved regarding Saturday's payment. We appreciate your past business. I hadn't asked him to text. He did anyway. I read it and thought about how many times I'd bailed out a dinner by handing over my card to keep things moving, while Dad joked about my points and Ty ordered another drink. Thanks, I replied. Please remove my parents' number from my profile. Keep mine if they reserve under it. Of course, he wrote. Hope to see you soon. That evening, Mom called. No text, a call. I answered. Her voice had the brittle shine of tears that aren't about sorrow, but about being told no. I don't recognize you, she said. I don't recognize that sentence, I said. You've become cold. I've become consistent, I said. She inhaled sharply. You humiliated your brother. I printed numbers, I said. That's not how family solves things, she said. How does family solve things? I asked. Privately, she snapped. Not with ultimatums. The ultimatum happened Friday, I said. You told me to pay and not attend. You used money to decide who was in and who was out. That's not what she started, then stopped. There it was. The tiny pause where the truth walks into the room and has to be either greeted or shoved out the back door. I love you, I said. But you made something very clear. You're overreacting, she said quickly. We'll see, I said. Here's how this works for me now. If you need help, you ask. I say yes or no based on my life, not your urgency. You don't get my login to your bills. You don't get my card on file. If you book a dinner, you invite me or you don't. But you don't demand I fund it. We never asked you to fund it, she said. You did, I said. You told me to focus on paying the $9,200 debt while you ate dessert. She said nothing. I'm going to be off the grid this weekend, I continued. Please don't come by. If you do, I won't answer the door. This is cruel, she whispered. Boundary, I said, and ended the call. Saturday morning, Tyler texted me a selfie from the garage, grease on his hands, hair pushed back with a bandana. First official day at the shop, he wrote. HVAC life. I stared at it. Part of me, the old part, wanted to say proud of you. The larger part stayed quiet. Not out of spite. Out of accuracy. Pride without honesty isn't kindness. It's counterfeit. At noon, he called. I let it go to voicemail. He texted, "Okay, calm down, I need a favor. My first check won't hit until next Friday and gas is insane. Spot me $80. I typed, "No." He sent a string of question marks. Then, "Dude, it's 80. I typed, "No." He called again. I didn't answer. He sent, "I'll pay you back." Then, "You're seriously petty." Then, "Fine. I'll ask Dad." At 2 p.m., Dad texted a photo of a shut-off notice and wrote, "This is what you've done." It was from the water company. The balance was $128.43. The due date was 6 weeks ago. The red stamp said, "Final notice." I typed, "Call the number. Set a payment plan. That's what adults do." He replied, "You used to handle this." I wrote, "I used to be the table." No response. Sunday evening, I got an email from my apartment's leasing office. "Good news. Your application to switch to a 2-bedroom has been approved." I reread it. Confused, then laughed. Of course. Last month I'd toured a bigger place because I thought maybe this year I'd finally get a dog. I'd shelved it because of the family category. I walked to the river at dusk and let the thought expand until it was a shape I recognized. I don't have to shelve my life to hold up theirs. On Monday, Jade messaged me privately. "I'm sorry for my part," she wrote. "I didn't know about everything. I like your brother. I also like honesty." I wrote back, "Thanks for saying that." She replied, "He asked me to text you for gas money. I told him to ask his boss for an advance." He hung up on me. I didn't answer. I didn't need to. That wasn't my fire to put out. By Wednesday, the group chat was quiet. A calm no one trusted. Then Mom posted, "Family dinner at our place Sunday. We'd like to talk, with love." I stared at it. I felt the old tug, the one that says show up and mediate. Be the grown-up, fix the energy. Then I thought of the empty seat with my name not on it. I typed, "I won't be there. Mom, Ethan, me. If you want to talk, you can come to my place at 2 p.m. Saturday. 1 hour. No Jade, no ants, no ambushes. We talk about boundaries, not feelings. If anyone raises their voice, I'll end the meeting. If anyone says you owe us, I'll end the meeting. If anyone brings up the spreadsheet to call me petty, I'll end the meeting. Dad, we're not children. Me. Then this will be simple." Saturday at 2, they came. No Tyler. He'd picked up a shift. Mom brought banana bread like it was a talisman. We sat at my small table, the one I had bought secondhand and sanded myself, the one with a scratch where I dropped a mug last fall. I kept it short. "I love you," I said. "I won't sponsor you." That's not love. That's erasing me. Dad's jaw worked. Mom stared at her hands. I slid a single sheet across the table. Boundary agreement, Ethan's copy. 3 bullet points, exactly the ones I'd said in their doorway. Mom read it and shook her head. "This is so formal." "Clarity is kindness," I said. Dad exhaled. "We'll try," he said finally. It sounded like he was admitting defeat, but I didn't need victory. I needed a door that could close without someone sticking a foot in it. When they left, I made pasta, poured a cheap glass of red, and watched a dumb show. I did not stare at my phone. I did not wait for it to ring. It still did. "Tyler at midnight. I heard about your agreement, LOL. You think you're better than us." I put my phone in a drawer. I slept. A week passed. Nobody asked me for money. 2 weeks. The water stayed on at their house. I know because Dad texted me a photo of the tomato plants like proof of competence. Mom sent me a picture of a casserole with a caption, "Your favorite." I said thanks. I didn't pick it up. On the Friday of week 3, my boss called me into a glass room and told me about an internal posting, senior systems analyst. More money. A small team. Less pager duty. He said, "You've been carrying more than your title for a long time." I said, "I know." It didn't feel arrogant. It felt accurate. That night, I signed the new lease. 2 bedrooms. Dog-friendly. I named a folder on my desktop Ethan's Life. Inside it, adoption links for shelters. A savings plan for an actual vacation. A list called friends to cook for. And under it all, quiet. Not the silence of being excluded. The quiet you get when the noise isn't yours. 2 months later, a postcard arrived. Front, a cartoon wrench and a snowflake. Back, in Ty's messy all caps, certified. Real job. Paying my own car insurance now. Don't be weird about this, but thanks for the first push. T. I stood in my kitchen, reading it 3 times, and felt something warmer than resentment and cooler than forgiveness. Not a ribboned ending, just a new sentence. I didn't text back right away. I didn't post it in the chat. I stuck the card to the fridge with a magnet that says please leave by 9:30. I fed the dog. Her name is Pixel, and took her out. The river was green and glassy. The city sounded like itself. Here's what I know now. Generosity without boundaries is just a slow leak. Eventually you're standing in an empty room wondering why you're cold. So here's my moral. Because I like sentences that end and hold. I'm not the table. I'm a person with a chair and a name, and I decide where I sit. And if there isn't a seat for me, I don't stand there anymore. I go home, feed my dog, and set my own table.